What's up, guys? We are back with another Super 7 reaction review, taking a look at a deluxe reaction multi-pack vehicle set. A pretty different kind of thing when it comes to reaction, and we're taking a look at some Joe stuff today. It is the G.I. Joe Arctic Rescue Vehicle. That's a very fancy, cool way of saying it's a dog sled, but this is a pretty cool looking set. Like, it's really weird. It's a very specific thing from the cartoon, and we get two unique figures in this pack. So we get a radioactive red glowing Snake Eyes, and we get the blind Woodsman. So I think that's pretty cool. And they even get their little bubbles here on the box so you can see them. If you want to keep them in the package, they're right there. But the package itself is pretty awesome. It is a very vintage inspired style design. So you've got the big G.I. Joe burst up at the top. You've got the big explosion with the blind Woodsman and his dogs racing towards the front of the package. You've got some smaller shots of that artwork on the sides. And then the back of the box has actual screenshots from the episode in which this takes place, as well as file cards that you can cut out for the two figures here. So I really like that. I really like the vintage-inspired callback. A lot of nostalgia going on. Obviously, that's a big thing for this, but the packaging and presentation on this is pretty top-notch. But we're going to do it. We're going to pull them out, so let's get to it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Arctic Rescue Vehicle set of figures. We're going to start with the figures first, and then we'll talk about the rest of this pack. So we've got our Blind Woodsman, and we've got our Snake Eyes here, and we're going to start with the Blind Woodsman. They are, of course, the same when it comes to articulation, so I'm just going to run through that really quick. There is head articulation on this guy, but he doesn't really, rotate. You've got your arms that swivel up and down, and your legs, of course, that swivel up and down. The big thing about these figures in particular is just the idea behind this set, because it is very specific. It comes from those mass device episodes, and it is a very cartoon aesthetic line here that we're talking about. So this is all based on the cartoon, and these guys come right out of the cartoon. The idea of the Blind Woodsman works really well here. And again, these are my first foray into G.I. Joe reaction. I wasn't really sure what to expect with these, because it seems like a step backwards in many ways for G.I. Joe compared to the vintage line. But these work really well when you take into consideration that this is animation oriented, and these animation colors and styles and finishes when it comes to the paint really, really work. So everything is kind of like a matte finish when it comes to the paintwork and the colors, and I think it really helps to sell the idea that this is more of a cartoon thing versus a vintage toy thing versus its own thing, really. So the Blind Woodsman here looks really cool. I'm really happy with the way this guy turned out. It's kind of a weird figure. He's got this monster rifle. I mean, it's taller than the figure itself, but it's got a great deal of sculpt, nice little bits of paintwork on there, and just the figure in general I think is nice. The head sculpt is great. The paint around the eyes, it's very basic, but it works really well. I mean, if you're familiar with any kind of reaction figures, you know exactly what to expect here. He can hold this gun really well. I mean, one of the things is he's either going to be on the sled kind of firing forward, or kind of hoisting into the air. It's humongous. It does kind of throw him off balance if you've got him just holding it normally, but you're going to have him on the sled, I'm sure, so it doesn't really matter too much. I think he looks pretty fantastic. And then you can throw old Snake Eyes in here with him, and we've got a new version of Snake Eyes, because of course this is supposed to play off the fact that he gets covered in radiation, basically, because he's carrying this canister, which of course it comes with to kind of sell the scene. And then he's got a gun here as well, just a little pistol, and he is done up in this sort of translucent, foggy style plastic that will glow red. So this is like your commando kind of Snake Eyes here. So he's got the pouches, he's got the straps, and then of course, to show the articulation here, his head can swivel a lot more freely because of the fact he doesn't have a big old bushy beard. But the paintwork on this guy is super, super clean, super crisp. I think he looks really great. I mean, honestly, it looks like an entirely different kind of character in the confines of him being Snake Eyes, because he's not black and he's not blue either. He's the very telltale glow-in-the-dark plastic color, but I think it works really well. And then, of course, when you make him glow, it's an entirely different story, because this guy glows kind of like a reddy pink color, which is very different and very much in line with that animation, with the scene that we're trying to set here. So I think they did a really good job on this figure. It's my first ReAction Snake Eyes, but I'm pretty happy that it's a Snake Eyes that glows in the dark, because I don't think there are too many instances where I'm going to be able to say that with any other figure, that I have a Snake Eyes that glows in the dark, not to mention one that glows red. But of course, we've got to talk about these Sled Dogs as well, because, well, they are kind of the bulk of this set. There's 6 of these things in here, and they're all the same, so we're just going to talk about one. They are all articulated, too, and I honestly, I wasn't expecting that. I thought they were just going to be like static little slug figures that connected to the sled. And they do connect, but they also have articulation, so you can make them look a little bit different if you want to have them all connected, so they don't just look like they're standing still. So they do all have swiveling legs, so they just move back and forth, and then the head moves up and down. The tail, however, is ball jointed, so it swivels all the way around. It can rotate, and it goes side to side, up and down. So that's surprising. That's kind of different from the norm when it comes to ReAction figures. So you've got a ball joint there. Sculpt on this guy is really nice. It's pretty basic, but it's still a really nice sculpt. The paint where it's needed is cleanly applied, so eyes, nose, and then you've got the strap that of course connects to the strap for the sled. So there's 2 holes on the underside of this dog, and there's a strap that will peg into each one that connects all 6 of them together. I do think it's pretty cool. Like, this looks really nice. It's a very, I mean, as far as a 3 3/4 scaled dog, it works really well. I think it looks good. Colors are nice and consistent across the board. And then this strap does help to break him up a little bit. But really, the coolest aspect of this for me is how it connects to make the whole situation. And then, of course, the fact that it is surprisingly articulated. Again, I didn't expect it because I didn't pay that much attention, but to see it have a ball joint for the tail, and then to have what it does for the arms, or the arms, it's a dog, legs, and the head, is kind of cool. So it makes it be a little bit capable of having some uniqueness between each of these dogs when you're trying to set that scene. Now, all that said, there is of course a larger component to this set. It's not just figures. It's not just 6 dogs. It is the sled and what it can create. So this is all about setting that scene. I've said that enough at this point. It's all about setting that scene where Snake Eyes gets saved, where he's in the sled, where the blind woodsman is riding on the back and is being pulled by the dogs. So you've got the ability to do this. This blind woodsman has a set of pegs here on the back to put his feet in, and then you've got grips for his hands. So you can put this guy on here, just like this, have him stand on it, and then you can have him hold the grip, just like so. And then he's on there, and he's, rocketing through the tundra. And then you can throw Snake Eyes in here as well, because it's got like a little blanket on the inside that has kind of like a groove almost that he sits in, and he doesn't move, like he's in there. It doesn't lock him in place, but he's in there. And then we've got the dog system here. So we will pull these guys out, and here is all 6. And there are pegs on the front of this sled that this little strap system will go into. So you peg them in, and then you can have your dogs attached to the front. And like I mentioned previously, each dog has peg holes on the bottom that their strap goes into. So you've got the strap that runs from the front all the way to the front of the dogs. Each dog has these straps that will peg into their underbelly, and it keeps them all connected. And there you go. You've kind of got your whole scene set right there, which I think is really cool. When you have it all together, it does work surprisingly well. And again, you've got the capability to have a dog with, like foot one direction or another, to have it look like they're in motion a little bit better. Obviously they're minimally articulated, but you can try to better set that scene when it comes to making them look like they're moving. I think they did a really good job here. It's weird, it's goofy. Let's give him that to make him even more radioactive, but it works. It works really nicely. Like, this guy sits on this very well. Snake Eyes sits inside of it very well. The dogs connect to it very well. And once it's all put together, it's going to hold its shape, and it's going to hold this display really nicely. So it's a good system of straps and dogs and sleds and old men with radioactive commando ninjas. It's a fun little set. I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. And again, it's very easy to put it all together. So yeah, this is a fun set. Like, I've said that enough. It's a fun set. If you like G.I. Joes, if you like the cartoon, and you like 5POA stuff also, if you're all of those things, you're probably going to enjoy this stuff. I was not expecting to be so enamored by a G.I. Joe reaction figure, but I kind of feel like this is sucking me in a little bit more because this is just a fun, weird set. And if you watch the channel enough, you know that I love fun, weird toys. It's a sled with a blind man carrying a ninja by dogs. I don't know how much weirder you can get within the confines of reaction figures, but this is it. And the system works really well. Everybody fits on it correctly, everybody sits in their place correctly, and all of it looks really nice, not to mention the fact that Snake Eyes glows red. So that's going to do it for this look at the Super7 ReAction Arctic Rescue Vehicle. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.